Hey guys, what's up, and thank you for clicking on my video, and welcome to the part 5 tutorial in your Adobe After Effects training. And guys, in today's tutorial we're going to take a look at the layer properties, and once we are through with the layer properties guys, if I have time, I'm going to teach you animation in Adobe After Effects. Okay, so let's get started. Alright guys, so basically guys, today's topic is layer properties. Okay, now basically guys, before starting with the topic, I would like to show you guys that once you have mastered layer properties, okay, and you have the basic understanding of where do you apply it, what are the cool things that you can create. Okay, now right now what I have done is that I have created a dynamic link, okay, for one of my projects in Premiere Pro. Alright, and as you see guys, I was trying to create this Ger-Eng attribute, and as you see people, the first two things, okay, the first two contents in my timeline in Adobe Premiere Pro. Alright, and guys, if some of you people do not know Adobe Premiere Pro, okay, there's no need to worry, because I just want to show it to you people. You can apply the same concepts in Adobe After Effects also, okay, once you have understood layer properties. Okay, now let's take a look at this. What do we have here? Right, as you can see, as the music comes, you can see these things are moving, right? They are also moving. So basically guys, you would be thinking that these are video files. Now let me tell you guys that these are not video files, they are actually images. And once you have mastered the layer properties, you can actually make this cool effects by actually making the picture move. Okay, so if you see that this thing is moving, and similarly guys, this too is actually, as you can see over here, if you take a look at my timeline, you'll see that there is the extension of the BMP, that's a still image format, right? As you see, it just keeps moving. That's a pretty good thing I think I've done. And actually I'm trying to work on this project, okay, of Ger-Eng's death tribute. I want to make him a death tribute, but anyways, that's for that is for the Premiere Pro project. Alright, coming back to Adobe After Effects people, now let's take a look at what like how do you create it. Okay, how do you like basically I'll teach you now how the layer properties. Okay, so for that people, I would need a brand new composition. And yeah, I have actually gone ahead and I've made a composition already named comp2, which was very bad of me. You should always name your composition files. And then guys, I have gone ahead and I've created the text layer. Now just to show you how did I do it, I'm going to delete this text layer. In my part 4 tutorial people, I had shown you people how can you create new layers, but I think that the best way of creating a text layer, instead of doing a right click and going to the new and then coming to the text, it's better that you just go and grab the text tool and just click it on your program monitor and then start typing, and it will automatically go ahead and create a layer for you in your timeline panel. Okay, so that's really cool. Now let's take a look at the layer properties. Now for taking a look, okay, now for browsing to the layer properties people, what you can do is you can click on this triangle, okay, on the left hand side of the layer, and when you do that, you'll see that there are 2 or 3 options, okay, depending on the layer. Now listen up guys, the layer properties really differ, okay, and actually, you know, like the layer properties will differ on depending on which layer are you working on. For example, if I go ahead and I create, what am I doing, man? If I go ahead and I create a brand new shape layer, you'll see that the properties of the layer are like a little bit different than the text layer. That the text layer has the property text, but the shape layer has a property named contents. Okay, I'm gonna delete the text layer for now, and yeah, coming back to my TJ style layer, and yeah, I'm gonna place it right in the middle somewhere, and I'm gonna zoom into it. Yeah, now, but one of the very basic properties, okay, that I think almost every layer in Adobe After Effects has is the transform property. And trust me guys, you can create some really cool effects, okay, using this transform property. As a matter of fact people, these two things, okay, which I created in Premiere Pro, this moving images, I have actually used the transform properties. Okay, I have actually animated some of the transform properties for actually creating them. And if I have time, I'll show you animation, and I'll probably reveal my trick also of how did I do that. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, once again guys, for going into the transform properties, okay, as in going deep into it, you can just click on the side triangle and you'll see all these different properties. Okay, now these properties are really important people, because you need to play with them in order to create some lovely effects. Now according to me, okay, what you beginners should really be focusing on is the opacity, rotation, scale, and position. And just for that reason, people, okay, there are some keyboard shortcuts assigned to it. And at the anchor point, of course, if you click on the A key on your keyboard, the anchor point will come to. But I don't really use it much, so I'm just saying, guys, you may already have a use of it. Right now, guys, you want to focus on the other options. Now listen to me, guys. What are the shortcuts? Okay, for scale option, okay, like for if I show it to you in the properly into the properties way, I'll open my TS style layer, then I'll open my transform, and here is the scale property. Okay, now just for avoiding all this mess, what I can do is when the layer is selected, I can just press the S key on the keyboard and the scale property will come up for me. Alright, similarly, guys, R stands for rotation, P stands for position, and A stands for anchor point. But opacity, people, okay, and listen up, guys, opacity is one of the very important things that I think, okay, that beginners should be knowing in After Effects. Alright, so for opacity, people, the keyboard shortcut is not O. Alright, it if you press O, nothing will happen, but you have to press the letter T. Okay, and here is opacity. Right, so now let's take a look at what do these properties really do. Okay, once you have your keyboard shortcuts in your mind, right? So now let's take a look at the transform properties, and then I'm gonna come down and actually, guys, just to explain you guys properly, I'm gonna drag my timeline panel up a little, okay, so that I can properly concentrate. Okay, so I'm gonna skip the anchor point because what happens is, actually, guys, let me just explain it to you. Anchor point, people, is supposed to be this part. Okay, it decides that where does your rotation, okay, from which angle your rotation happen, from which angle are you scaling your object, and basically it decides your rotation, position, and all those properties. Now I would just say that if you want to go and experiment with it, go ahead and do that, but for beginners, if you are beginners, you won't really use it much. As a matter of fact, I don't use it much, so I'm just gonna go ahead and skip it, and I'm gonna go for position. Now what position does is, people, it basically, if you go ahead and drag the parameters, okay, on the right hand side, all these yellow colored numbers, if you drag the position numbers, okay, you'll see that you can move it left to right as in your text. Okay, similarly, guys, you can do this with a video file also, right? For example, if I go ahead and open my yoga project, which I have been using from quite some time for explaining my After Effects tutorials, yoga project, and say that I bring this thing in, alright, my whole project I bought in, and I'm gonna go ahead and click on the comp one for, yeah. So actually, guys, I have actually applied the position property. I actually have animated the yoga, because what happens is, people, the girl was right in the middle, okay, of the video, and I actually had to move it on the left hand side. I actually had to move her on the left hand side so that I can create some room for. I'm actually trying to go ahead and load the frames, and actually, guys, as you see, I had to move her on the left so that all my like the logo and the piece yoga title can come up, right? So you can go ahead and play with the position property for moving your object left to right, okay, into your composition. Scale basically is a very common thing, guys. It will just zoom, as it will grow your object, okay, in your composition. Rotation, people, is supposed to be actually, guys, these all things are actually common sense, okay, and I'm very much sure that you understand all these things on your own. But just since I'm making a tutorial, I will just explain it to you. You can go ahead and play with the parameters if you want, okay, and you can have some lovely effects. And opacity, once again, people, it determines that how much of your title is visible into your project panel, okay, as in into your program monitor, okay. So that's really cool. So these are the basic properties, okay. Now, depending, like I said before, guys, your properties may vary depending on which layer you are using. For example, if you switch, if I switch back to my this option, right, I'm gonna go ahead and share all my layers. And you see, people, that there is this text layer, okay, named TJ style right over here. If you see, if I open the just to show or reveal the property of the TJ style layer, you'll see that there is a text property, there's a transform property, but now, guys, since I have applied some effects to it, there is a brand new effects property, okay. because what happens is, people, in After Effects you can actually animate the effects also, okay? You can time them up properly and have some lovely effects coming up, okay? So you can, so that's what I think it's used for. So yeah guys, so that's what your basic layer properties do, okay? For text, people, you can go, because guys, you know, in shape layer we have content, in text we have the text layer. So basically guys, I cannot go ahead and explain you every individual property, but the basics, okay, is the transform property that I've covered. So guys, since it's only 10 minutes for now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with the topic of animation in After Effects, okay? So yeah guys, I think I'll start that thing today, and actually right now. Okay, so let's take a look at what does animation mean in After Effects, okay? Anything, people, okay, anything that we can actually have motion applied to in After Effects is called animation, alright? And basically guys, the keyframes, as in like the layer properties, people, is the core, okay, of animation, I would say, because at least I feel like that, because you need to actually play or actually change all these different properties for having some really nice animation. And at times, people, you may have to combine them together. For example, I, in my most of them, might, like, say in this title video, okay, in this intro video, I have actually combined, if we go and see the transform, and if we go yeah, I've actually combined the position and the scale, okay, and actually have this like, you know, this T style right from this and going back, and you know, this thing right here. So this thing, I had to play with the position, and I had to animate position and the scale property in order to create this lovely effect. So now let's take a look, guys, at how can you start doing that, okay? Now listen up, guys. Once you and yeah, one more thing, guys, layer properties, the next thing that is very important you need to understand is the keyframes, okay? And don't worry guys, I'm gonna explain you keyframes, and then I'll give you some keyboard shortcuts also, alright, for them to for you to feel easy in After Effects and to use them. So of course guys, for starting your animation, what you can do is decide, firstly guys, you need to always make up your mind that what kind of an effect you would want to create, okay? Like for example, when I had started learning After Effects, actually guys, I have yeah, when I was started learning After Effects, I used to have like a really tough time, you know, like to come up with new and original effects. And actually guys, these are not original. Actually had taken this kind of a concept from WWE WrestleMania 2027, I think, okay? When I had downloaded it, they had something like this created. But yeah, man, that's a good thing, okay? Two lens flares is going left and right, and then my text can just, like, you know, in a big way just come and bam, like that, and then slow motion like that will really look good. So I'm going to show you guys some really inside techniques, okay, that will help you a lot when you are creating some of your own projects, okay? Now, one of the very important thing that I think is scale property. For animating the scale property, guys, and as a matter of fact, for animating any kind of property, okay, it can be a text property, it can be a content property, it can be a effect property also, okay? When you have effects applied to a layer and you want to animate them, what you have to do is you need to click on this stopwatch, okay? When you click on the stopwatch, you will tell After Effects that, yeah, After Effects, now I'm starting animation, okay, with this property. Now I'm ready for it. I've decided what I want to do, and from here on I want this property to be animated. So say guys, and actually guys, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna quickly create the same effect, okay? So let's take a look at how do you do that. I've got my T, and actually I'm gonna increase my opacity all the way up so that you can see my object properly. Transform once again, select it, then decide which one you want. Now right now guys, we want the scale to be on a universal basis, like as in big, okay, right from the start. So we're gonna animate it, okay? We're gonna start the animation by clicking on the watch. Now as you see guys, that once the clock gets selected, as in clicked on, and you see like it's been activated, the animation will start, okay? And in order to start animation, okay, you'll be having keyframes. Now Sony Vegas Pro 11, people, if you people are using that, or if you are familiar with that, at least Pro 11 has started this concept, okay? And I really feel that they have taken this this thing from Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects, like they have seriously taken it. Like they introduced the stopwatch, they introduced the keyframes, but I would say that actually Sony Vegas Pro 11 is like it didn't come up to the expectations. Okay, I would say that After Effects was 10 times better. As a matter of fact, Sony Vegas 9 is better than 11, but that's just my okay. I mean, forget it, guys. We're here for After Effects. Okay, so guys, this is a keyframe. Okay, now I want you people to go into the full screen mode in order to in order for you people to see properly. You can see that there is a small yellow dot created. Okay, and guys, you can only see this yellow dot if you are properly zoomed in, okay, into my layer properties. For example, if I go ahead and I close my layer properties, you'll see that now I cannot see that yellow dot, neither can I see my layer properties. So but if you only have that layer by using the keyboard shortcuts, then again guys, you can have that small yellow dot coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut this time. Select the layer and hit the S key on the keyboard, and your property will just come up, and so will your keyframe. This yellow thing guys is supposed to be called a keyframe. Okay, now I'm going to press the home key people on the keyboard in order to assure that your CTI is on your first frame, or of course you can take a look at the time code, which is 00000, meaning that your CTI is on the first frame. Then I'm going to start the animation by clicking on the stopwatch. I'm going to move in time. Okay, I'm going to take my CTI, that is my current time indicator, in time, and somewhere as in 5 seconds. Okay, in 5 seconds I'm going to change these values. Okay, once I change these values, you can see that my text is now getting bigger and bigger, and it's kind of looking a little weird. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it right into the center, okay, of the program monitor. Now let's take a look guys at how how's the animation that we have created. Now what will happen is, people, if I start an outline preview right now, okay, it's gonna go and it's gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna continuously keep on going ahead. Okay, so we don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna place my CTI on this first frame, as in on my second frame, and then I'm gonna press the N key. Okay, so what will happen is that my workspace will just come down to this, and I have created a loop now. And now you can see guys, if you scrub the CTI in your timeline panel, you'll see that now you properly have created some really weird looking animation. Okay, so let's just go ahead and play this thing, and you'll see that After Effects is right now rendering of what you have created, and it's slowly getting, and once it's completed, you'll see that now it will play in real time. Okay, so it is quite weird actually, because you cannot see the T, and since the time it gets big, we are missing on the E also, and we basically cannot see that which word it is. So we need to animate some more properties. Okay, so transform, we're gonna go into the transform, and I'm gonna ensure that my CTI is on the first frame again, and I'm gonna animate the position property. Once you click on the position property, now what I'm gonna do is instead of using these parameters, I'm gonna just freely take my I'm gonna use my mouse, okay, and I'm gonna keep this title, okay, or this text layer or my object in my program monitor somewhere in the middle. Okay, and now if you see guys that when it gets bigger, you'll see that it's somewhere the whole, half the letters, okay, in my TJ style are going out. So what I'm gonna do is guys, I'm gonna bring it and I'm gonna pull it out, and as you see people, automatically Adobe After Effects has created a new keyframe for me, meaning that I have now created this kind of an animation happening. Let's just go ahead and RAM preview it. Okay, not bad. It is getting bigger, but you'll see that eventually it just gets it gets too big, and my letters just go out of the program monitor. So that's not what we want. Once again guys, you're gonna go to the last frame, and this time guys, you're gonna use the keyboard shortcuts. Okay, and people, I really encourage you people to use the keyboard shortcuts, because what happens is, people, if you're using your mouse freely, okay, if you just keep it somewhere over here, what will happen is that you have not you will keep it somewhere very close. Okay, right now I've zoomed in, see right now you'll see that my CTI looks almost properly on my keyframe, but that's not it. Okay, when you zoom into it, you'll see that it is actually right next to that keyframe. So and if I apply some new, or if I make some changes to my effects, or my position property, what's going to happen is it's going to happen something like this. Say if I change my scale property, right? Now if you go ahead and play it, you'll see that it goes like, it gets bigger, it's bigger, and it goes over here, and then automatically it just, like, out of one frame it just comes over here. So this really, can be distracting people. So we don't want this to happen. So once again, guys, you want to take it back, okay? And this time, guys, you want to take a look at the keyboard shortcuts, okay? And these are two keyboard shortcuts, okay? The first is J, and the another one is K. The K letter, guys, will take you ahead in time, okay, and will land to the second keyframe, alright, and J will take you back in time and will take you to the place where your keyframes is, okay. So that's so you can ensure that any changes that you are doing, you are not creating a new keyframe by mistake, okay, and you are just modifying the keyframe which are already there, alright. So right now, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna delete both the keyframes that I have applied, okay, to these two layers. And for doing that, for losing all my keyframes, okay, listen up, guys, for losing all my keyframes, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click on this stopwatch again, and as soon as I do that, you'll see that I have lost both my keyframes, okay. So people, I want you to ensure that, as in, wait a sec, yeah, you see, guys, I by mistakenly created that keyframe, and you'll see that my CTI is not really moving, but there are changes happening in my program monitor. That is because my two keyframes are very, very close, that my visually my eye cannot see, okay, when I'm not so zoomed in into the timeline. But you'll see if I zoom in too close, I can now see it properly. I'm gonna press the J key to come back to the keyframe. I'm gonna hit the letter delete on my keyboard. What? Oh, I by mistakenly selected the whole. I'm gonna undo it. I'm gonna select this keyframe only. I'm gonna delete it, and I'm gonna do a close for now. that was my personal download that I was doing, and that's how, guys, you can create some lovely effects, okay, in Adobe After Effects. And yeah, lastly, guys, how did I create this effect? This was a very easy thing, okay. Basically, I'm not gonna go ahead and show you what have I done in the, like, where have I changed the keyframes and all, but basically, guys, what I've done is I have just done some changes in the scale property, okay. So if you have this image, okay, or if you have this video title, or this entire episode, you can import it into Adobe After Effects, okay, or you can just search some images. And actually, guys, let me just show you how do you do that. I'm gonna need yeah, because I have that image right now with me. Oops, yeah. So I'll just go ahead and quickly show it to you. How did I make that thing? Footage, I need to come in footage, pictures, yeah, this thing right here, and it's actually a 1 to 0 BMP. That's a BMP sequence that I imported. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna import, yeah, BMP sequence. I'm gonna uncheck that. I'm gonna select my this one picture only. I'm gonna do open so that only that one image comes in. I'm gonna drag it down to the timeline, and as soon as I let go, it's gonna be created. You'll see that the whole thing is a one folder now, alright. So now I'm gonna animate this thing. Let's take a look at how did I do it. I'm gonna press my scale key, okay. I'm gonna make sure that my CTI is in my first frame. Click on the stopwatch, and I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. I don't want to lose all the people that are there, okay, but I don't want these lines to come up either, okay. I can see at the side, you can see all these lines coming up, these black lines. Now they don't look so professional now, do they? So we don't want that either. So I'm gonna keep it, say, somewhere over here, right, somewhere like this. And as it goes ahead in time, I'm gonna create, actually, guys, we can go ahead and create a new keyframe by clicking on this button, okay, and when you click on it again, you'll just remove it. But I feel that just making changes is much more simpler, and as soon as you make some changes, guys, Adobe After Effects will automatically create the keyframe for you, okay. So now if you take a look, it just simply just goes like this, and you can see that it kind of looks like a video file moving like this. And this thing, guys, what I've done is actually I have applied the same keyframe property, alright, but in Adobe Premiere Pro there are some effects, okay, that you can apply to images and video files. So I have actually applied a posterize effect, and I have done some animation into it also, and therefore I can have these like they're not actually blinking eyes, but they're actually changing colors, so that like really looks as in, you know, it's applying, like it's doing some magic, and you know, it really looks cool. So go ahead guys, okay, go ahead, do some changes in your images, go and try to create some cool text titles, your intro files, and if you have any more problems, you know, you can definitely message me on Facebook. I'll try to reply you as soon as possible. Okay, so thank you for watching my video guys, and please subscribe me, yeah, please subscribe me and like this video. Thank you, peace.